Mel Steinmetz, and what we're doing here tonight is we're starting a YouTube channel about East Tennessee small school, high school basketball. We're going to focus on the teams in our district, and mainly, more local, because it's just easier for us to get out and see a lot of these games, so we know more about them. But we got a guest here who may be doing this thing. Hopefully, I hadn't asked him yet, but kind of partnership with us for this season. Goose Lindsay, he's a former Roane County News sports editor. He's now the Morgan County News editor, and he's been in the media business for a long time. So I'm green. I don't know anything. I just think there was a need for this, and I like to get out and go to ball games. Everybody knows what I do when I'm in the stands, so you can even comment about that, I guess, on YouTube. But tonight we're going to talk about the coaches in the district. We may not get to everybody, but hopefully in the process of doing this preview, the season preview, we're going to get to everybody. But I think that I think this area has just an immense bunch of good coaches. I mean, you look down at Rockwood, and you got Kamakaw, who's been here forever. Travis is up here. He's now been to Murfreesboro. Shay down in Harriman's won the state tournament. You talk about some of that.
Yeah, it's boys and girls both. I mean, like you said, we've got coaches just all over the place. We have led teams to state tournaments. Some of them have been to multiple state tournaments. You're not going to get a lot of coaches here who haven't seen what's going to be thrown at them. A lot of them are really prepared about what's going on. Some of them can change their system to fit their personnel. Some of them are system coaches that will run the same system year in and year out. But it makes for a lot of interesting matchups every year, and this year should be no different. Yeah.
You talk about system. I mean, Coach K down at Rockwood, he's running the same stuff, and consistently for the most part, they win. But Wayne, who's a product of Rockwood, he's a system guy. His is completely different. Because they're up and down the floor. Which is what basketball's kind of becoming now. Up down the floor is spread because of the 3-point shot. But it is kind of neat to see some of those systems the way they pan out year in and year out.
Yeah, it's neat. Because what you said about Wartburg and their style. I mean, Oakdale County plays a similar style now. A lot of teams are getting into that to where you just kick it down the floor if you can get an open three before the defense sets up. If not, maybe you get a quick layup. But it's all predicated. First you got to get the rebound to get down court. But in some of those games, get a lot of fouls a lot of times. Because you've got so much action going on, and so that means teams have to play more players, and that just gives more kids like a chance to play.
Yeah,
and then it makes the competition and practice.
And it gets the kids out of always. For years, Wartburg always had more because they knew they were going to get a play, whether they were just basketball guys or not. By their junior, senior year, they were always in the rotation, and that's something we've seen, going from back when my oldest son played with Mickey. They might have 9 players, and they were doing JV games, and everybody had to play 2 quarters in the JV game, I think we had, 23 last year at Oakdale, and I know Joe's constantly got numbers, and we're a quite small school. They're a little bit bigger, but,
Well, that's just it. When you have the numbers, you have the competition, it takes away from those rebuilding years. I mean, granted, there are years when you have those special classes that come through, and when you graduate a lot of players off it is hard to replace, but it's a lot easier when you've got 20-something to choose from than, when you got 11 and you graduate 5.
Another Rockwood product, Thomas Davis up in Sunbright, it looks like his team's on the way up.
I think that's the one team, if you had to pick a surprise team going from last year going into this year, I would think Sunbright's got Big West Bohannon in the middle there, Hunter Bunch, who can, he's an athlete, gets down the floor, and he's probably going to be the highlight dunker in this area this year.
Yeah, I heard
guys like Tyler Langley, they've got some pretty good pieces there in Sunbright. I don't know if they're as deep as some of the other teams, so they might be more of a slow it down type style. But I think Sunbright's that one team. If you looked at who didn't make the region last year, who could really threaten for a district title this year, that could be the team.
Yeah, there's a buzz around something, right? What about Wartburg? I've kind of, they kind of had a down year for Wartburg last year, and do they have a whole bunch coming back? Or?
Well, you lose like Dylan Fountain, you lost Kirk Harlan. That was two of their main pieces last year, but I think they're a system.
Joe reloads every year.
Yeah, Caleb Constant, kids like that, they will get up and down the court. They will get a lot of shots off. They'll try to wear you down, and I think they're the type of team that maybe at the beginning of the year, till they get their maybe the rotation set, they might struggle. But I have a feeling by February that's probably the type of team you don't want to face in that first round of the district tournament.
Yeah. And that happens with a lot of teams, especially Coalfield. You don't want to get their legs under them and get better as the year goes on. Coalfield generally going deep into the year in football. They're always late getting started, but it seems like they get better as the year goes on. But the one team that comes to mind to me is to just being a tournament type team and getting better as the year goes on is Herring. And we're not just talking about this year, last year. It seems like it's been that way for decades. At one time Harriman was just a talent pool, which in there's still a lot of talent.
Yeah, there's not been many down years for Harriman. Even their down years, they have talent. Maybe sometimes maybe wasn't used to maximize the talent. But they're a type team. I guess was it Jalen McCullum? Yeah, he should be the leader this year. They were a team that I was surprised when they didn't make it farther than they did last year. But that was one of the deals where the year before they won the state. So, and they lost a lot of talent off that year, but they had a good season last year, but just didn't quite play out to where they got past the region semis and got to the sub-state again. But they're the type of team that, especially in a wide open district, I don't know if you have a favorite going in. I don't know if you have a favorite.
It's hard to pick a favorite this year from what I'm hearing out of everybody and seeing. It just, you've got some teams that, you figure will finish at the upper half, but as far as a favorite, and everything kind of changed last year with the district changing and going from 7 teams to 9, but that just made it harder, to make the reach.
Yeah, you play district games earlier in the season. There's not really a break. If you get a kid injured that's a key player, he misses 2 weeks. Right there's the difference between maybe finishing 2nd and 5th in the regular season. I think Coalfield was a good example of that last year. They had so much going on early in the season in football. By the time they got in the groove, they were out of the district title hunt. And then you look at them here; they end up in sub-state once they got everything going. So injuries are going to play a big role this year because I don't think there's that one team that can withstand them. There's like Oakdale here. I think they've got a good chance to be good again this year. I know they lost a ton last year, especially
Jackson Hicks. I think somebody's going to step up. And there's a couple of kids, Dawson Smith and Rhett Nelson,
and Eric Best. Eric Miller. That was a deep team last year. You had some kids, I think, like Ian Golston. Who really didn't see the floor much last year. He might be the surprise player in the district this year.
I heard about him from the camps this year, and I think he's one that really could be a surprise player. He can flat get.
And I think okay, when we mentioned about Wartburg, till you get your rotation, everybody figures out the roles. But I think Oakdale's another team that when you look at them, they had a nice run to the state, and everybody felt good about them. And do they take a year off? I don't think they do. I think for years, even when you lost to Maverick Smith, your son. Tyler, Coggricks, and some of the groups they've lost the last few years, they've been able to reload, and I think that comes from having 20 kids in the program and having to compete every day in practice.
Yeah, that really does, and that's something, it's like you said, I don't think they will either. I hope they don't, because I think that may have affected the Harriman team last year. We're talking about kids, young kids, that if you've already savored it, maybe you're not as hungry, and I don't want to take anything away from your kids by any means, because every time I've seen a Harriman game, they appear to be just playing their tails off. But when you've been there, you may not want it as much, and I think as far as Harriman goes this year, they're probably going to be a little bit hungry after feeling the disappointment from last year.
Yeah, when you come, this close, when you're in the region semis, a close loss, and then when you see that even if you could have got past that one, you could have still competed at the state level.
Yeah. That's something I wanted to talk a little bit about. I go to a lot of basketball games in East Tennessee, and you go to Knoxville, unless it's a full Oak Ridge game, the crowd is nothing compared to what we get around here. Every gym is packed, every game, every night. It's an event, and you got to give props to the parents, the school. It's amazing. And I grew up in Illinois where basketball is king. And our district, our region, night in, night out, the crowd's there supporting the kids, and these kids love to play, in that type of environment.
Well, I think a lot of reason maybe for the crowds is that you yourself. I think some of the opposing fans of Oakdale just want to come and, hey, let's shut the bald-headed man up. And then Oakdale guys, you get everybody here fired up. So you're a big reason that. But I know what you're saying. Small school fans, it means more because there's, you go to Knoxville, you're 2 minutes away from a movie theater.
Yeah.
You're 5 minutes away from yeah. Here we go. Let's go to the gym and watch basketball. Let's go to Hollis Table Field and watch football. There's nothing better than a small town environment for athletes.
And there's a lot of passion, I think that comes from that because you get back to the coaches. We've got coaches: Thomas Davis, Coach Lane, Travis, Coach K. That almost everybody coaching has went to one of these schools in this area, and they loved it enough that they went to college and they got a degree and they come back and get a job coaching. And I think that's neat. I really do. They care about the communities, they care about the kids, and they have a passion for the game. That to me is pretty special.
Yeah, I imagine, like Coach Lane over the years at Warburg, he's had opportunities to go to places, but. And so it's not about the money because, a lot of places you'll make more money than you do in Morgan.
Yes, sir.
But that's how it is with a lot of these coaches. They once their kids end up in the schools, they watch the kids in kindergarten growing up all the way through high school. So they just know these people for so long that they become family.
Yeah.
But that goes back to that small town feeling.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. One thing I want to mention: if you're a coach, we want your comments about what you want to see. We need some rosters. Me and Goose will probably start texting or calling some people and getting some rosters so we can give some of these kids a little bit more recognition, because they are every night after school. A lot of them play AU basketball. They're working out. It's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of work that goes into this. But let's talk a little bit about some girls basketball, Goose. I didn't get to as many girls' games last year with my granddaughter being up in Johnson City as I have in years past, but they put it out on the line too. There's a lot of great girls coaches, great girls fans, and great girls players around here. And we've got some history. Oliver Springs. How many state tournaments did they?
They've got a lot of banners down there. Just in the last 15 years. You've got banners everywhere in that gym. It's like going to the Boston Garden or.
That gym. To me, it's better than Boston Garden, especially if you go in there and get a win.
I guess we got to say it's the form since it's purple and gold. But
yeah.
So no matter what, even if Oliver Springs is a little down, they're always in the mix.
It's a tough place to play.
I look at Midway, a team I think that brings everybody back, but maybe one or two from last year. Kaylin Ross, who just a phenomenal player. Kaywood, I think it's Emily Kaywood. Not sure right now, just drawing a blank on that. But I think they're really good. Wartburg, went to the state last year, lost 3 starters, but Kelly Johnson and
Jason just seems to come up with players.
Madison Holly was the other player. I was thinking about their 2 returning starters, and they were a deep team last year. They played a lot of players, so I think they're in the mix. Sunbright last year, I think, went 27-5, won the district, but had a little bit of injuries come tournament time.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be really good. Yeah.
Job.
And they've got a good freshman class coming in. I think girls basketball freshmen are ready to play more than boys. I just think physically boys still have some growing to do at that time.
Yeah,
so, but I think Sunbright is a team that's probably got 5 or 6 pretty good freshmen that you could see starting or definitely playing a lot this year. Of course, you've got Oneida; they're always in the mix. Cofield and Oakdale last year down a little bit, but you figure they're going to be better this year. So it should be kind of like the boys. You're going to have a dogfight with a bunch of teams that are going to be fighting to get to the region. And last year that region was great because Delco Plains and Wartburg, that was just a classic game for a region championship. And so I think the girls here just getting out of the district will be tough. And I think at least last year, the region side, I think the girls from the other district, District 3, was a little tougher than maybe over here. So I think the road is probably a little tougher to get to Murfreesboro for the girls.
Yeah, that seems to be a bit of a challenge for me. With that said, we've had several teams in the last 10 years make it to Murfreesboro out of this area, this district. Of course, I want to say that the district's changed up multiple times in the last 30 years, and a lot of y'all know we went from 7 to 9. The privates left, and I'm not going to say anything. That's another video.
It's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. But Oliver Springs made appearance after appearance. Airman and Midway, did Midway did that?
Well, Midway, Coach Hayes has been there before. I don't know. Last year they made it. It seemed like in the '90s, but they've got a team this year that can make it. Harriman's been there in the last 10 years. So I think of course Oneida's been there. Oliver Springs has been there probably more times than I've got fingers here.
Oh yeah,
Cofield's been there, Oakdale's been there, Wartburg's been there. So it's definitely a bunch of great coaches in District 4 for girls basketball.
Now, I think if you don't know, I believe the Hall of Fame games are starting.
Should be the second week of November, the week of probably November 13th, just about when everybody plays.
13th and the 15th, I think, is when everybody's going to get started. I want to thank our sponsor, Rock Garden Landscape, because I'm going to put a little bit of money in this, so I'm going to give my business a prop every now and then, and hopefully we can pick up some other sponsors. I'd like to see this thing grow. But we'll get into that. We will have some schedules next week. Anything else you want to say?
Well, of course, me, I'm not really the YouTube type person, the Facebook, things like that, but we was told by our producer, Peyton Payne, that we had to ask for shares and likes and however that stuff goes.
Oh yeah, that's
so
right.
If you're watching, you know what we're talking about. Put some comments on there, things you want to see. Maybe you want to see Tyler's comments on here. That would be a great guest to have.
Or Jeremy Hicks.
Jeremy Hicks, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cut him off, but the 13th to the 15th, and then Oakdale goes to Anderson County the 20th. Go up there and see Coach Derek Wallace, and hopefully we can get out of there with a win. And then the first district game will be the 27th. Like Goose said, share it, like it, thumbs up, I think, but we're going to try and get this thing going. Do some interviews with some kids, maybe a play of the week, a little bit of highlight action, talk to some of the coaches, just give these kids and the coaches a little bit more of a chance to get seen or what have you, just a little bit of exposure, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with it too,
That's got it said, I guess.
Okay, well, thank you, you too, and we'll see you next time.